If you're new to the Elvie Stride and wondering how to use it, stick around because in this video, I'm going to walk you through all the different components that make up the Elvie Stride, how to assemble them, and exactly how to use the Elvie Stride for a comfortable and effective pumping session. So let's get started by taking a look at all the parts that make up the Elvie Stride. Now, first of all, you have your pump motor. This is what powers your pump. It controls suction strength, modes, and connects to the Elvie app via Bluetooth for remote control, pumping and tracking. Next, you have your collection cups. Now, these sit inside your bra and collect the milk within them, and each cup is made up of your flange. This is where your nipple sits during your pumping session. It creates a suction and draws out your milk. You have your cup container. Now this is the main shell that holds your breast milk, holds up to 5 ounces of breast milk. Then you have your valve. Now this keeps the milk flowing in the right direction and prevents backflow. And then you have your diaphragm that sits on top of the cup, and this helps to maintain a closed system and protect your pump motor. You then have your cap and seal that fits nice and securely over the top of the diaphragm to connect and hold your tubing in place. You have your tubing. Now this connects the pump hub to the cups, allowing suction to travel from the motor to your breast shields. And then there is a USB-C charger, and you also have your pump motor holder with a little clip on the side here. Now let's have a look at how all these parts go back together. First, you're going to take your valve and attach it to the bottom opening here on your flange and connector. Next, you're going to want to take your diaphragm, and this sits on top in this circular position here. Now, one thing to note, it actually does sit inside here on your diaphragm. So you need to make sure that you lift this lip up and make sure it's going all the way in nice and securely. It's really important to have a secure seal all throughout your pump to help with suction. So once it's in place, run your fingers over the top, and then you're going to take your cup and push your flange in. Now up the top here, there is a little arrow to make sure that you line this up nice and properly, and then it simply pushes in place nice and firm. Now once you have both your completed cups, you're going to want to attach your connector point to your pump to your cup on both sides, and then the end of that will then plug in to the base of your pump motor. And there you have it. That is your pump set up for double pumping. Now, if you only want to single pump with your Elvie, you can remove the tubing on one side and simply push. You pull that out and it's got a little hole on it, and seal off that connector. And then that now is set up for single pumping only. Now, before we get started using your Elvie Stride, you'll need to make sure that you have your correct flange sizing. Now, this is essential for comfort and milk output. Ideally, your nipple should sit centrally within the tunnel without rubbing. Now, to measure your nipple size, you can use a nipple ruler. I also have a video that shows you how to choose your correct flange size. And just to note, this is a 24mm flange, and it does not come with any other sizing options. So if you need a smaller size, you will need to purchase your flange inserts separately, or if you need a larger size to purchase a larger size flange. Okay, so once we have this all set up and we're ready to start pumping, first you're going to want to turn on your pump by pressing this power button, holding it in. Next, you want to connect it to the Elvie app if you choose. I do have a separate video for that, which I will link to. So once you have it connected, you're going to want to place your collection cup into your bra, ideally a nice supportive pumping bra. Make sure that your nipple is centered within the flange. You can open up the pouring spout, I don't know how well you can see that, and have a look inside to see how well your nipple is aligned. And then once it's aligned, just close that pouring spout lid back up. Now you can then clip your pump motor. You can have it sitting in that if you prefer, or I like to just hold it or place it in my pocket as it is. You need to look at holding this or placing it somewhere secure, and make sure that your tubing isn't all kinked up. So let's take a look now at starting to pump. So you can hit the play button to start your session, or the pause if during your session you need to pause. That is that button right here. So if I press play, this will start on the stimulation mode, and you can hear this. These are short, quick suctions, and then it will automatically move over to your expression mode. And when that happens, this light will turn on. You can manually do it by pressing this teardrop on and off. So with the light on, it's in the expression mode. Now these are the longer suctions to draw out your breast milk. The stimulation are these short suctions for initiating your letdown. So ideally you want to start in your stimulation mode and run that for about 2 minutes, and then it, like I said, it will automatically switch over to your expression mode, and you can choose to run that for the rest of your pumping session, or you can play around with the settings to really work out what best suits you. So some mums find 5 minutes on the stimulation, 5 minutes on expression, 5 minutes on stimulation, 5 minutes on expression is a really good mixed option for them. But again, have a play around to see what best works for you. Now, when your pump is running, you can see these dots up the top here. This is your suction level. You can press the minus to reduce that, or the plus to increase the intensity. There are 10 different intensity levels on both the stimulation and expression. My suggestion is to start low, something on a 2 or a 3, see how that feels, and then increase as needed. Typically a pumping session will last about 15 to 20 minutes if you're double pumping. As I said, you can pause throughout if you need. Once you are done with your pumping session, you can pause or turn off your pump. You can then remove your connector while it's in place, and then you are going to want to lean forward slightly. So imagine my hand is the breast, lean forward, and then use a finger to break the suction seal. You don't want to just rip your pump off, because that will rip your nipple with it and be quite painful. So lean forward so you're not losing any of your precious breast milk. Gently break the seal and then remove your pump. Now, I will say you cannot store your breast milk within your pump. You are going to need to transfer it into a storage container. To do that, you simply open up your pouring spout lid, rotate that down to the bottom, and then side pour into your collection container. You can then undo your pieces and remove any remaining breast milk and pour that in as well. If you do need to sit your collection cup down, there is a flat base, So you can do that while that is full, while you're removing your other breast pump. Now, you can then track your session within the app if you're using that. You'll see real-time suction levels, the time, and your milk volume estimates. So you can go through and update those if you choose. Now, after each session, you're going to need to wash all of your parts that have come in contact with the breast milk. So that is your collection cups. You do not need to wash your pump motor. If you put this in water, you will destroy your pump. And again, the tubing and connection points do not need to be washed. Do not submerge them in water, or they will need to be replaced. If they do need cleaning because they've got a bit of breast milk on them, just grab a damp cloth and give them a little wipe down. Your collection cup, on the other hand, will need to be washed after each use. So you simply pull this apart, make sure you pull apart all the pieces, give them a good wash. They are top rack dishwasher safe, so that's very handy. And then once a day, sterilize them. Now, your pump motor will stay charged for about 2.5 hours of a full charge. You can check your battery life by pressing the little mode button with the teardrop. And that will tell you how charged your Elvie Stride is. If your pump does need to be charged, it's done by USB-C. There's a little port up the top here, so you can place this on charge. I recommend putting it on charge at least once a day so it's ready for use. Depends how often you are going to be using it. And that's your Elvie Stride. So I hope this review or guide has been helpful. And makes pumping with the Elvie Stride simple and stress-free. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer. Cheers.